Tell me, why is this the right time for Brossoit to get a start, and just maybe a little bit about his development maybe you've seen since the time?
Why is it the right time for? Because he deserves to play. We're 4 or 5 games into the season. His games have been pretty strong, so he deserves the opportunity to start. I think that's an interesting question that you ask. And then what are we looking for? We're looking for him to improve on his development curve. And he's been, year one, he had some things to learn practice-wise. I thought he accomplished that. And year two, he was a lot better. This year, we expect him to take more on and be productive. And we think tonight's his night that he can start that.
Todd, backup goalies only get so many opportunities to leave impressions with their coach. Can you talk about the impressions that he's left with you, maybe even back to that one exhibition game where he was so good and then the look he got early season, the impressions he's left with you?
Well, we go back, he started in Winnipeg, and we took a fairly young lineup and played against a veteran lineup in Winnipeg in exhibition season. Now, that can be dangerous when you begin to evaluate just pure exhibition results, but after a little bit of a shaky start, he really settled down and gave us a chance to win there. Any of his other appearances in exhibition season were fairly strong, and you know, even coming in relief, I think he's done a good job to this point this season.
Is this harder to do with the current state of your team and the way it's not playing real well, and throw into that the fact Cam's game probably could use some work? Is it more difficult to make this decision, or does it become easier because your starter's not playing as well as he usually does?
I would think that Cam needs some work, and he's probably not as pleased with his play as he'd like to be. But LB also needs, you know, he needs to play a little bit. We don't plan on playing Talb's 77 games this year or whatever it was. And LB was scheduled to get a start somewhere in here. If we're 4 or 5-0 or whatever our record would be if we won all our games, he would still be getting an opportunity to play. We have to play him. He has to develop and evolve.
Todd, last year your defensive zone coverage took a big step forward from defensive forwards, and early this year it's taken a step back. Is it cheating? Is it guys just on the wrong side of the puck? What are you not seeing from your group defensively that you saw last year?
Well, some of it's fundamentals. We saw good fundamentals in game one. Even in the Vancouver game, there was a couple mishaps, a few bounces that went against us. I think of their second goal behind the net when it goes off Russell's stick net front. You know, those happen within a game. It's the last two nights where, one, I thought we cheated against Winnipeg, and we were on the offensive side, and we cheated all over the rink, and it came back to bite us. The other night it was about fundamentals. It was board work on the first goal, not being able to clear the puck and then support that area. Penalty kill, obviously not where it needs to be, giving up 3 in a given night. So all of a sudden the goals start stacking up against you. We have the ability, regardless of who's in the lineup, to play solid defensively. We have to play it faster. We have to play it better positionally. And if your fundamentals, your board work, your passing, your read and react time aren't where they need to be, you're probably going to be on the losing end.
Todd, Carolina has a pretty mobile defense. How do you counteract that? What's the best way to stop a mobile defense?
Well, you know, your forecheck has to be strong, and they have to at least earn their escape ice out of their defensive zone. So that's going to be important, where we and how we place pucks and the type of pressure that we put on their back end. Now, the other thing that they do is they make the initial pass and then they jump up. And our forwards are going to have to work extra hard to make sure that we're competing for free ice coming back to our end. If the go sign is lit up for their D and there's nobody there, they're going to go. If our forwards do a good job and we work back into proper position, we may discourage them sometimes from jumping in, but they are very mobile. That mobility also helps them extremely, or an awful lot defensively, because they get to a lot of loose pucks and they have the ability to get their eyes up and move the puck. So we've got our work cut out for us.
Todd, Kailer Yamamoto said that he felt the most comfortable in the last game. Do you foresee now you're going to get a real good look at what this young man can bring to the lineup? Because he's...
Yeah, you said Yamo, right?
Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he now he's comfortable now. You're going to be able to see what he actually can bring to the lineup.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that the last couple nights. Night one nerves. We talked about that. He got a little break and got to watch. And then the next 2 nights, I thought he's got progressively better. For a little man, I thought he had maybe the most touches in and around the blue paint. The other night against Ottawa on our team, he had or was near the top in shot attempts, pardon me. He created some plays. He's still deferring to Connor. We could see that on the semi-breakaway. Even in practice yesterday, he had an open net, and he thought that he should pass it to the covered guy. But that happens when you're a young player, and he'll learn that as we go. But I think he's improved as we go forward.
Benning was one of the first ones off. We assume he's back in. Malone.
Who are you talking? Who did you?
Sorry, Benning.
Matt Benning is not available. He's sick. So
sick. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other lineup changes you want to share at this time with us?
Well, we'll go with the same D. Obviously, the goaltender change, and we've got Malone up. Malone's going to play, so one of our forwards is coming out.
Okay.